Possibly.
So we'll see. We'll keep looking
We
on.
don't ever get too excited about a deal until we get it under contract, and then even not that excited even until we get it all the way to the closing table.
I agree.
So, but this is the best part of our Monday. Mondays. Every Monday, 3:30 Central. What are we talking about today, man?
We are talking about tools and systems to utilize for building your real estate business. I had that all memorized, right? I was not reading the screen.
I love this guy.
I had the first couple words memorized.
All right. All right, good job. So yeah, no, we're talking about some of the ways that you can systematize and tool out your real estate business, right? You know, and this doesn't have to necessarily be multifamily syndication, even though that's kind of where we live. I think this could probably go across many different things, not even just real estate, but I think just business in general. You probably could use some of these tools, maybe not all of them, but some of them in general. And we'll kind of talk about some
right?
of them,
I think that's really a big part of why we've been able to grow Disrupt Equities, because we have systematized this business a lot more than other people, period. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, we scaled up, right? We looked at it not necessarily in forms of it's just real estate and it just happens to be a business. We looked at it first as a business, right? And how do you build a business around multifamily syndication? Right? And I think a lot of people get caught up in the deals and then they're fumbling around to try to scale up and actually create some kind of a real estate firm out of it. And that's where they might fumble, right? You know, we've learned a lot of hard lessons along the way, you know, but some of these tooling, some of these systems, some of the ways that we've done things is just, you know, we're going to kind of open up our kimono and, you know, kind of talk about some of the things that we've done that have kind of made us successful. And, you know, we're open. We want this to be a collaborative experience. So if any of you guys know of any cool systems, processes, software, you know, dump that in the comments, give us a like, give us a share. You know, we want this to be a collaborative process with our viewers, right? And so, gonna hop right into this, right? I think it all boils down to being more organized, right?
Yeah, or what is the point of having a system?
Yeah, what's the point of having a system, right? Yeah, I think it's ultimately to be more organized and, you know, ultimately be able to get more productivity out of your day. Right, a lot of people have a tendency to, especially when they're starting off in real estate, me included, Ferris included, we did a lot of this on our own, right?
I had a system from day one. I don't know what you're talking about, all right?
The one guy, you know, in the whole entire business that had it systematized from day one. But most of us fumble through it, right? You know, especially that first deal or two, you're doing a lot of this on your own and you're trying to figure out the best practices, the best way of doing it. A lot of us come from corporate America. Right? And why have those businesses grown as big as they have, right? They've got processes, they've got tooling, they've got software that makes their staff, their partners, their employees more productive. And that's the most important thing. Productivity equals profit, right? So I think the one thing that we did was kind of just deconstruct our day, right? Identify where me and him's time is best spent. And I think that, you know, from our perspective, we still do things, don't get me wrong, that, you know, we don't like to do or we feel like, hey, maybe somebody else should be doing. But at the end of the day, we are still a small business.
We are utilitarian and we will do whatever
we'll roll up
we
our
need
sleeves
to do.
and we'll get things done, right? We're the get things done
I do
shop.
so much random stuff. I just stopped wearing sleeves shirts. I just
there you go, right? You can't even roll those up, right? But I think when you get to a point where you can start identifying some of the things that you like to do or that you're good at, those are the things that you should start focusing on, right? Everything else should be automated, systematized, or delegated out, right? For us, we like putting deals together. We like talking to investors. We like talking to brokers. That is really what gets us excited about multifamily syndication and what we do. And we like creating businesses. We like solving problems, right? So, but there's a lot of minutia that goes along with all of those processes, right? So you have to have the staff to bring on. You have to find the right staff to do these certain facets of the business, and then you got to give them the right tooling for them to be successful too, right? Because you can put a rock star in as an underwriter, right? And we have, you know, but at the end of the day, if they didn't have, this is such a simple example, if they didn't have Excel, their process would be pretty antiquated and it would take a long time, right? So we have to put the right tooling and the right software in front of these people so we can enable them to be successful, right? So identify where your time is best spent. The rest of the business needs to be delegated out, systematized, or automated, right? Boom. Find the bottlenecks. I think that's another thing too. And this kind of goes along with deconstructing. You will start finding out that, for example, you're spending 50% of your time, you know, doing asset management, and you know, the other 50% is 20 other things, right? So you realize, okay, asset management is kind of a bottleneck. That's where I'm getting jammed up. So you need to understand that, okay, even though asset management's important, is there some things that you could delegate out? Is there some things that you could maybe automate or maybe get reports that, come to you,
and start with the easy stuff, guys. Like it's easy to get overwhelmed with all this stuff. Pick something that's well-defined. And I like to say, if you could write it up to where you have a 10-year-old walk through it, it can be delegated out.
That's true. So, I mean, we look at everything like, we have a lot, everybody knows we have a lot of virtual assistants, right? And everything that we do, we document, right? We're militant about that. I'd say that's one of the great things that we do. We've already got a handbook, probably about yay high if we actually printed things here at Disrupt Equity, which we try not to.
No, I'm not the man to print.
We're not allowed to print unless it's
tell you this.
Unless it's a lender thing.
I had ink on auto order and ordered some more last night. I canceled it.
Oh my gosh!
Moving forward because I don't want any more.
I can't believe you.
We got stocks of ink, and hopefully that's the last ink we ever buy at Disrupt Equity.
It's toner, man. It's toner.
Toner. Sorry, we have some people that still print in the office, but we're clamping down on that.
We're gonna,
maybe in 2 months.
I'm gonna
move the printer into my office, so that way.
We're gonna scold people, and give them the evil
public
eye.
Shaming.
Yeah, public shaming will be allowed for people that are
yeah.
printing. But that's just another thing, right? Like, do you really need to print
Shanna's
that out?
a little traumatized here.
No, I don't think Shanna's ever printed anything.
No, she's traumatized for the time she wants to print.
Oh gosh, no. The only time that we ever printed anything, at least me and Ferris, is if it's lender related, right? And they need a wet signature because sometimes they don't, right? So you just need to ask, right? So you need to once again identify where your time's best spent. Identify where the bottlenecks are, right? Offload action items that are not worth your time, right? Utilize virtual assistants if you can, right? Or just, usually people start off with a virtual assistant, or maybe they start off with an asset manager, right? These people are there to offload things that you're not good at or you don't like to do, right? It's as simple as that, but you need to start by literally deconstructing your day. Where are you spending your time, right? And then on top of that, your team members, right? You got to give them the right training. You got to give them the communication channels to be effective, to collaborate and communicate with each other. And once again, you got to give them the tooling and the software to go out and be productive, right? So this stuff is not rocket science. I just haven't seen a lot of it probably at the smaller level. We have adopted tech, obviously, because both me and Ferris came from the tech world. Probably a lot more early on and a lot more quickly, and we continue to do it, right? Like if we don't like something or we want to try something new,
for how to try to improve the process, right? I mean,
it's not set in stone.
I little look at it as we have infinite hats that we could wear, and the less hats I wear, the better, right? So how do we break that down? And then sometimes it's people, sometimes it's software, sometimes it's both, right? So and the other piece of it too that's kind of been alluded to maybe is training. Right, with tools, systems, processes, there needs to be an equal amount of training. And that's probably an area that we haven't done as well of a job in, right? We kind of let people figure it out.
Let's talk about that though, right? Because I think that is absolutely important. And I'll use the example of a virtual assistant. We were talking to Greg Beach, who's a friend of ours, right? And we give him all these these tips and tricks, and this is the software that you should use. But then we just said, don't just lump it on them, right? You got to get the virtual assistant, which is a whole process in its own, and we've gone through that, and so I won't rehash that here. But you got to get the right virtual assistant, and then you got to train that person just like some other regular employee. You got to, you can get some rock star in there, but if they don't know how to use Excel, or they don't know how to use IMS, or they don't know how to use Asana, or they don't know how to use Teams, right? They're going to fumble through it, and it's going to be very frustrating to them. Or B, they're just not going to use it at all, right? And C, you're going to have the adopters that are going to begrudgingly do it because they don't want to get fired or get in trouble, but they don't really believe in it, right? So you have to sell the value that you're providing to your team members as to why you should use this, right? Don't just say, all right, go use this new tool. Good luck, right? How well do you think that's going to go over, right? Godspeed. How well do you think that's going to go over? Probably not that well. Right? And so you need to sell the value of, hey, I'm making you more productive. This is going to make your job easier. And this is going to ultimately, coincide with your success at this firm. Right? And so most times people, if you give them the right tooling and training, they're going to go along with it. Right? So, and Shannon, if you want to bring this up, just so people can kind of get a peek at some of this is not everything, but this is probably 70 or 80% of what we use, the main software and tooling that we use, right? You want to kind of go through this? This is my guy right here. He's the one who's really been the one that's been an adopter on this.
So whenever I left Microsoft, the thought process was building software in industries that don't have it. I think that was wrong. I think the opportunity these days is actually about tying software systems together to accomplish a bigger thing, but using off-the-shelf stuff that's already out there. So a lot of what we do is about how do you make these things all work and play together, right? So, with that said, here's just a few of the things that we use, right? Kind of maybe go through them really quick. IMS, right? We use that for investor management, right?
Yeah.
Getting documents to investors, getting their bank account information, all that stuff can be nonstop paperwork.
Oh
chase.
my gosh!
I mean, now we educate. We try to train our investors. Hey, IMS is where you go to give us bank information. No. Don't tell me your bank account changed.
No.
Go figure out IMS. That's the only place.
Don't change. I don't want to know about your address change.
And even on our side, I have to kind of even in that. There's a training for Ben, right? Like he gets changes, and I have to kind of tell Ben hey, we got to go update the information in IMS, right? We as a company need consolidate around IMS. IMS is our source of truth, right? So there's training on all sides of it, right? And so then, the person that does our monthly distributions has to know to go pull it from IMS. Always get a fresh file because the data could change, and go with that. So that's IMS for in a nutshell, right? Asana is a really big one, right? Tasks and workflows. How do you track things that are important to the business? How do you make sure people don't miss items? And it's not to say we're perfect, right? Because there's a bigger problem of how do you get it in there. But Asana is what we use to kind of really get some sort of consolidated task management workflow. And honestly, it was also our deal pipeline for a while. So it's kind of, we use it as a CRM too. So Asana, but again, Asana, people look at it and they're like, I hate it. You have to spend the time to learn about it. Spend the time to integrate it into your process, spend the time to train the team, right? And it becomes the norm. And you have to kind of, Jackie says it well, inspect what you expect.
I love that.
So inspect what people are doing, right? Because you expect them to use it. So there needs to be some accountability.
One thing I wanted to say about Asana, right? He brought up a good point. It is a big beast, right? And some people will get completely overwhelmed with it, right? I use it as my action item list. So I used to be the guy with the yellow pad, and every day I'd write down the 20 things that I'm going to do the next day, and then I'd come through and I'd mark them off as I did them. And I still did that up until about 2 or 3 years ago. Finally when we moved over here, I was like, okay, all right, I'll stop doing that. And we started using Asana. So you could use it as your action item list, right? But we're talking about bigger projects, right? So we just had a deal that we closed, right? So there's a whole takeover process on the property management side, and it is massive. There's a massive amount of things that need to happen for it to be successful. And we've tracked that and made a template within Asana. And then you assign that to the right team member and assign the right dates, and then you're able to track that, right? So think of this as like project management, task management, and it's really ultimately pretty cost effective too. Like I think that there might be even a free version or a semi, cost effective version too. So don't think that this stuff's going to cost you thousands of dollars a month, right? Like IMS. But it is worth its weight in gold. Trust me, right? So Microsoft Teams. This has been one that's been
Microsoft Teams is just, we used to use Slack, right? I've been on the Slack bandwagon since Slack was like 6 months old. And we moved to Microsoft Teams, right? Because it's just part of our ecosystem. But again, a way to easily communicate, not just in the back office, but even with on-site staff, right? Getting one consistent place where people go that builds habits, takes people out of doing random text, and helps people align their life to the job, right? Or maybe keep their life out of the job, right? Kind of, hey, Teams is for communication. I don't need to give people my personal cell phone number, right? I give them Ben's if they need something important, right? Go bug Ben. But it's about keeping that in. That's what we use for video calls, right? We're in a virtual world.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right? For us, like with COVID, things didn't really change a lot. We were already heavily invested in the virtual side of things.
We took Zoom and we took Slack offline and we replaced it with Teams, folks, right? Because Teams can do everything.
And Slack has video and stuff too. So if you're using Slack, you can keep that there.
They all have, but Teams, we decided to make a change from, say, G Suite over to Outlook and the Microsoft
ties into
products.
the whole ecosystem for us. And
they gave us a kickback because he used to work there. So no, I'm just
I wish they don't give us any discount. I guess I didn't think about asking my old friends about a discount, but
you should have, man. You should have. Come on, man. But Microsoft Teams very powerful, and it's taken off on the corporate side too, right? I would say that that's probably going to be the de facto. It's a Microsoft product. So check that out. That is free with your Office 365 subscription. So don't think that this is some standalone product, folks. This is something that's right out there that you're already probably paying for, you're just not using. And you could do file storage, right? So think of it, file storage, chat, and video and phone calls all on the same thing, right? So Confluence. This was something that I didn't really know about.
Yeah. So you need a knowledge base, right? A place to document things and processes that people could easily edit. So we use Confluence. It's definitely came from the tech world, right? It is, it's not. it's a great, very powerful tool, but people need to kind of get their head around it and learn it, right? It's not the easiest thing to kind of get into, but it is very much a place where everything is there. You can go search. If I need to go figure out, if I have an incident at a property, I probably go search Confluence for incident, and I can find how to do an incident report. Right?
Yep.
Things like that.
Great. That's, once again, I think we started some of these because of the property management business that we're in, right? But it's become just as valuable on the acquisition side of our business, which is disrupt equity, right? So, but Confluence, think of it as your on the internet handbook, right? You have everything and all your processes are documented right there, and it's easily searchable, right? You can, like Farrah said, you can pop in a keyword and all the things, all of the processes, all the lists, everything that's in there is going to pop up, right? So, Knock. Tell me about Knock, man. What's Knock?
I mean, basically, again, marketing at properties is complicated, right? There's a lot of channels, especially in this world where everything is digital.
Yep.
And now with COVID, there's even more of that, right? So how do you consolidate all your channel streams? How do you have one place where people know to go? And how do you really track KPIs? And so Knock is a tool that we use for marketing at the property level on disrupt management, right?
Yep.
And so again, all of these things are meant to solve problems and do it in a way that you don't want too many systems and processes. And that's why I'm a big fan of things that consolidate, right? Yep. And then have people do that thing and then inspect what you expect. So that's Knock in a nutshell, right? It helps. I mean, if you don't know what it is, go check it out. But essentially, they like to call it what do they call it? A tenant CRM, right? Consolidating all the traffic of all the different places.
So this is like phone calls, this is emails, this is social media. It all goes into one thing that allows your leasing and your office manager to be able to, follow up with these potential leads, right? And then it lets your corporate staff or the ownership team, right, understand, hey, we got 50 leads from phone calls, but we only got 5 walk-in traffic or 5 people through Facebook, right? Well, maybe you need to double down on, getting more people to, go through your social media platform because you're not getting as many leads, right? Or you could say the inverse. Most people are calling you. So how do we capitalize on that, right? It gives you the data that you need to be successful, right? Exactly. And the one other thing that we don't have up on here, it's called HappyCo. That's another thing that, is more property management specific. But for those that are owners too, we provide that to our ownership group, right? And that's essentially a way to, track, the progress of a turn, right? You kind of come in, somebody's moving out, right? You document the condition of the property, just like what people would have done on a due diligence report. We're doing this on a turn. Every turn that happens, we're documenting it. Is that carpet salvageable or not, right? Is it good, bad, fair condition, whatever, right? We are documenting this not only for the benefit of our owners, but for us too, right? We're tracking costs. It goes back to the regional. Regional says, yeah, we could salvage that carpet. We're gonna try to save some money, right? Whereas maybe, say your maintenance guy said that he wanted to get rid of it, right? So it's a way to track and keep accountable, the people that are doing the turns and making sure there's not that leakage, because that's really where you spend a ton of your money when you're turning units, right? So
let's see. So Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. Or if you have comments, questions, let us know.
I got one more,
there's
man.
a bunch of them.
I got one more.
I interrupted you intentionally. Oh. So if you have comments, questions, we will get to the Q&A here in a minute.
All right.
And if you have ideas for future topics, let us know. Usually we spend about 15-20 minutes presenting about the current topic, and then we'll do 10 minutes Q&A. So if you have comments, questions, bring them down. We'll go ahead and read them in a minute. I'll let Ben do his last one before he cries.
Okay, I got 2 more actually. I got the one that's on the screen, and then I'm gonna have another one that I want to throw at everybody. So Upwork, right? This is where you can get not only virtual assistants, but people just to really say you want a graphic made, right? Or you also have Fiverr, which is a kind of a little bit of a competitive platform, right?
Different.
They're a little bit different.
Fiverr's tasks, Upwork is people.
Yeah, so Upwork, you're going to get your virtual assistants, right? And we tend to get females out of the Philippines, right? Because of just their work ethic and everything else that kind of goes around it. But this is a platform where you can vet your virtual assistants, you can make sure that they're keeping on task, you can review them, you can pay them. It's all on one platform, right? And it really keeps it very easy for us to keep track of them, because I think we have like 10 at this point. We're probably going to hire a few more here in a little while. So Upwork is the platform that we use. Fiverr, like you mentioned, is a little bit different, right? That's more for tasks, right? Say you want a graphic made, say you need, something created, that's where you're going to go to Fiverr, right? With 2 R's. Or is it 2 V's? I don't know. It's 2
Fiverr?
R's. It's 2 R's, right? Yeah. Last but not least, you always have to have an email system, right? Now this is regardless of what business you're in, you need to communicate with your clients, right? And people still communicate quite a bit through emails, right? We use ActiveCampaign, right? There's a ton of them out there. You can use 20 different ones. That's the one that we tend to like, right? There's a lot of integrations. We've kind of set up on that one. We used to be in MailChimp, but it just, what we got with ActiveCampaign was just, heads and tails better. But you need to have one of those, and you need to be documenting that, especially if you're a syndicator, right? You got all those business cards. You need to have that in a place, and you need to be talking to your investors and the people that are on your list.
Absolutely. So let's see. Q&A. Let's comment. So Ronnie says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Ronnie? Sorry, no plaid today."
Buddy.
Rod says, "Hello, everyone. Hello."
Hey,
Ernest Harbin, long time no see, but he says, "Hey, future partners. Hello."
Hey, Ernest, how you doing, buddy? And hey, I need to get back to you, man. So I'll reach out to you here in a little bit.
So there's your mistake. You reached out to Ben, not me.
Oh, ouch.
But no, I'm probably more behind than Ben on email. So
okay, well, he admitted something. Oh my gosh.
Jefferson Gunn says, "How's your weekend? How are you doing, Jefferson? Things are going well."
Good, man. Yeah.
Ronnie says G Suite versus Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 right now wins. G Suite was great about 5 years ago, and for whatever reason, Google has stopped doing anything useful with it. Sorry, Google Lights, but I'm a big Google fan. I mean,
you were. We
were
on G Suite.
We were on G Suite before, but
G
my
Suite.
ultimate problem is Google just kind of stopped pushing the gas, and Microsoft is kind of crushing them right now. So hopefully Google will fix themselves, but they're behind, and the problem is the stuff is sticky. It will be very. They'd
have to come out with something revolutionary for us to change.
I
mean, like that you have to realize, like you're either a Microsoft shop or you're a Google shop, right? You know.
So Ronnie says top ways to automate your business. That's the whole presentation. There's a lot of things. Ronnie says Zoom is good for external calls and webinars, but Microsoft Teams is as well, man. We have dial-in numbers and the whole shebang. And now as more people use Teams, people are comfortable with it, and so I'm done using Zoom if I can. So I want to just
we still use it for our webinars. There's pluses and minuses,
not
right?
on our next webinar.
All right. Apparently we're going to Teams, Ronnie. So, but I think the problem was for a little bit, it was kind of a little bit clunky. They didn't have Microsoft Teams, or they didn't understand how it worked. Whereas Zoom had kind of been around even pre-COVID. Teams has really taken off over the last year.
So Jefferson says, nice, you're bringing in the technology from IT. We are using Confluence at work. That is great for documentation.
Yep. And one other thing that I wanted to add too, right? Just having a CRM, right? ActiveCampaign could be your pseudo CRM in a way, right? But having your own CRM too, right, is also important. We've got a couple. We got Nimble, we got Zoho. We use them for two different reasons.
Nimble, Zoho, Asana. And
Asana, yes.
And other Zoho. So we have.
Yeah, I mean,
we got a lot of. We got too many toys, but there's different reasons for each. Of them.
There's different reasons for each of them, right? But you need to invest in one of those, right? Because you need to, once again, you got to keep up with your clients. And if you're a syndicator, your clients are your investors, the people that you want to partner with. You need to be talking with them, right? So you need to have a way to track that, right? And you need to dive deep, build a profile on them, deconstruct your list, right? All the people that live in California need to be tagged. All the people that live in Texas need to be tagged. All the people that live in Florida. Maybe you met, people at Rod Cleese event, and you need to tag all those folks, right? A CRM allows you to do all that, right? Create lists and tags, and it makes it easier to keep up with the people that you're trying to keep in contact with, and give them the right messaging that you're wanting to give to them.
Absolutely.
Right?
So let's see. Ronnie says, how many VAs are on the acquisition side, and what's their tasks? 2 VAs.
Yep.
Different tasks: data entry, data gathering, data consolidation. We don't let them do the deep dive in the numbers because there's just a lot more domain. But I mean, they start to warm up to that and learn more and more. So there's just a lot of different things that you start to piecemeal. Like, how do you get normalized data, right?
Yep.
How do you get consistent rent rolls or T12s or comparing to last leases, et cetera? So.
Yep. I mean, you got to realize on the acquisition side, right? You can only do so much. That boils down to kind of a broker relationship. That's something that, I would say there's certain parts of the business that I don't think we're ever going to delegate out, or we're ever going to, try to automate. And obviously, broker relationships is one of them, right? So you're not going to have your virtual assistant try to develop some relationship with a broker in Austin, right? We're going to do that, or somebody from our team is going to do that.
Yep.
So
let's see. So Province says hello. Let's keep going then.
What else we got, man? No questions? Come on, folks.
Jefferson says, how to use Upwork for your VA in the long term. So is it hourly based or project basis that you pay them monthly? So we do hourly basis. We hire them full time.
Yep.
So they're not doing anything else besides kind of things related to the company. So they're not getting distracted, randomized, and doing a million other things. So
yeah, because they can, right? You figure if you pay that person for 20 hours, that other 20 hours might be paying them a little bit more. So who do you think they're going to be spending a little bit more time on, right? You know, and yes, Upwork does kind of keep track of some of this, but at the end of the day, this stuff is fairly cost effective. So think about getting somebody full time, even if you just start with one. That's what I'm always going to suggest people do. Right? No other questions?
No other questions. So if you have comments, questions, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep rocking and rolling.
All right. So we're talking about the toolkit again, right? DisruptEquity.com/toolkit. This is where all this stuff's going to be. Checklists, websites, tools, podcasts, more, right? With an exclamation point. We've got a lot of stuff on there. Shanna does a great job of curating that and keeping that up to date. So check that out if you would. You know, I'd also ask you to, hey, check us out on YouTube, right? Subscribe to our channel. We're going to continue to dump more and more content there, right? Oh, we've got a slide. Look at that. I didn't even know this was on here, Shanna. Oh my gosh, it's just like we're in sync. We're in sync. So youtube.com/c/disruptequity, right? You know, go ahead and subscribe to that. We love to kind of beef up our YouTube channel a little bit. We are putting obviously these on here. Plus we're gonna be having some other content that's coming down the pipeline. So check us out there, it's gonna be great. You're gonna get notified on the next MFM meetup recordings, live streams of upcoming in-person meetups, recently featured interviews. We'll put our podcast on there as well. It's just going to be just a content heavy
Galore.
I like galore. That's a good one.
So with that said, Money Mondays, we do this every Monday, 3:30 Central. If anyone has any more comments, questions, go ahead and drop them. Otherwise,
what are we talking about next week? What are we talking about next week?
How to get your multifamily insurance quote in 60 seconds or less.
So we're doing some more of our underwriting. People love the underwriting. That's been some of our most viewed Money Mondays that we've done. So we've worked in this tool to our workflow, and I think it's going to be fun and exciting to kind of see how it works in person. So check it out. We'll be online. We'll be underwriting a deal. So come check it out. And I think that's all I got, man.
That's it. Money Mondays, 3:30 Central.
Right.
See you guys next week.